by Arkansas, for Arkansas. This is Inside Arkansas Live.
And welcome in Inside Arkansas Live here on this beautiful day here in the great state of Arkansas. I'm your host, John Neighbors, alongside Curtis Wilkerson and Andrew Ellis, and appreciate each and every one of you for making us a part of your afternoon this afternoon. Happy Election Day to everybody out there. I know it's a very important day, but we promise we won't talk politics. Don't worry. We're going to keep it really united by talking Razorback sports, because that's usually how it goes. But either way, going to have plenty to talk about here today. We're going to look a lot at the Razorback basketball season as it does start officially tomorrow, but I had a chance to hear from one of the assistants today. We'll get some Razorback basketball prop plays, get into some of the SEC basketball talk. A few teams went yesterday too. And, of course, get to your chats and your phone calls if you want in on the conversation, 478-344-6623. But happy Tuesday, guys. It's bye week, but it's basketball season, and it's just nice to have college basketball last night and even some college basketball today, even going on right now. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, not too bad, man. It was a fun day of college basketball yesterday. Some of the overrated teams in this country, like Texas A&M, lost as they should have. Lipscomb, who Arkansas played Wednesday, looked really, really good. And Baylor, who they play Saturday, looked really, really bad. So interesting day of college basketball, and I'm excited for Arkansas to get started tomorrow.
Yeah, I love college basketball. I love democracy, and I love you guys. So it's a beautiful Tuesday.
Lots of love going around. That's what's important. So, yeah, I mean, listen, it's fun to really look at the excitement surrounding the season. And I know that Arkansas, of course, dropped their game to TCU in an exhibition game, and that nobody was able to witness unless you were there in person, which I know you two were. And then you turn the page and you have Lipscomb coming in tomorrow night. And it's just so funny how I was talking with a buddy of mine about Calipari, and just everything's going so well, at least for the popular vote. Like, everyone's like, hey, this is great. He's got the talent. He's got the players. They got the schedule. They got the attention. They got all eyes on him. I mean, even yesterday when I was checking out one of the Field of 68 live streams, they talked about John Calipari. When I was watching ESPN and seeing one of the ESPN games featuring an SEC team, they talked about John Calipari. So it's amazing how everything right now is good for Razorback basketball, but now comes the most important part for John Calipari, and that's to win and to produce. And for this team to actually get it going too. Saw an upset yesterday in the SEC, so not to say that any team is off from ever being upset in the early part of the year, but now it's do or die time. There's no more excuses, no more anything. This team, we're going to see what they can do. We're going to see what they can perform, but what can we expect out of them in the early part of the season, especially with that tough game against Baylor coming up this Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, I think you could expect them to be just fine. You know, that at the end of the day, every team in the country right now is in the same situation of new faces and new places, and everybody's got some kinks to work out. Some teams are further along than others. But the thing that Arkansas has going for them is they're extremely, extremely talented. So that's always going to be a good thing. And you just never know how these things are going to go. Cal mentioned it last night on his radio show that at every stop he's had along the way as a head coach in college, he's either lost his first game or it's been a mess. I think he's also talking about Kentucky. I think they were playing like Miami of Ohio or something, needed a buzzer beater from John Wall to go to overtime and win, or like it's just always been a little more interesting than it needed to be. I could do without that, I think, tomorrow. Like, just go ahead and handle your business. That would be cool. I'd be fine with that. But results are always going to be all over the place until teams figure out exactly who they are. I just like when Arkansas beat Kansas in the exhibition, and we were saying probably ain't going to look as good against TCU, and they didn't. Just like Baylor got the ever-loving hell beat out of them by Gonzaga yesterday. I'm telling you right now, that's going to be a Baylor team that looks entirely different on Saturday. So I get it. You want to look at that and go, oh, so yeah, so Arkansas should blow those guys out. Don't do that because the results early in college basketball season are freaking nuts. They're all over the place. And it's kind of what makes the early part of the season so much fun.
Yeah, I feel like yesterday honestly was a bad development for the Arkansas Razorbacks because one, you see a Lipscomb team that's going to be pretty tough, you know, in that first game. Now, obviously Arkansas should still take care of business in that one, but you don't get a cakewalk. You don't get a cupcake necessarily to start the year, which I'm always a big proponent of. I know everybody loves strength of schedule. They don't like to see Arkansas have a bunch of bums come into Fayetteville. I'm on the other side. I really think they should just beat all these. They should play the worst possible non-conference schedule. Because if you're worried about, you know, an at-large bid and all that, Hopefully it doesn't come down to whether or not you played Arkansas State at home. But I really, so I'm not a fan of having these mid-majors that are sneaky good. And then you mentioned Baylor, who, yeah, you should absolutely expect a very different version of them Friday night. And if they weren't super fired up and ready to play John Calipari's Razorback team and kind of make a statement nationally, they definitely got a fire under their ass now. And so that game Friday, Arkansas's got a lot of questions to answer nationally. Everyone's going to be kind of looking at them, waiting on Arkansas to slip up. And if they do it now against a Baylor team that just got beat up by Gonzaga, it's going to be Arkansas will be an easy punching bag. And so you jump right into it where your games matter and everyone's going to be waiting on you to lose. But again, we've said it before, this is where you want to be.
See, that's the thing is like when you think about the schedule, not only in the early part with playing Baylor, and they got a few other games that they should win realistically, but the non-conference slate and everything. You talk about, like, say if they even beat Lipscomb, which, you assume they will, at least they should, even if Lipscomb is a little bit better. But the Baylor game is going to cause, no matter what happens, no matter what the result is, an overreaction of epic proportions. Because it's either going to be, oh, if Arkansas beats Baylor, holy crap, this is real, this is insanity. Or they're going to say, well, Baylor must suck because they got beat by Gonzaga handedly, and then Arkansas beats them. So it's going to be those two things. Or if Arkansas loses, then it's going to be like, man, this team got smoked by Gonzaga, and then Arkansas can't even hold a candle to them. This is going to be a process. This is going to be a problem. Like, are they going to get it turned around? Does this team suck? Like, I thought this team was supposed to be talented. No matter what happens in that game, it's going to be an overreaction. And I know we'll talk more about as we get closer to that game down there, but that's what I'm really not looking forward to the most, guys, this basketball season, is we thought that football wins and losses causes a huge reaction, which justifiably so. But in basketball, where there's 30-plus games and a whole different type of team, different vibe, different culture, different everything, one loss is going to be massive. And then one big win is also going to be incredible. There's not going to be anything in between.
Yeah, and what's crazy about it is, like, it's that way with football within the fan base, but outside of that, nobody really cares about what Arkansas football has going on the national stage. Basketball, it's the entire internet, to your point, is going to be just all over every single result. And that's what scares me, John. You kind of talked about it with Baylor and whatever the result of this game is going to be. And here we are overlooking Lipscomb already. My God. But no, seriously, it's like, when have we been in a situation this early in a season with Scott Drew at Baylor since he's gotten that thing going where it's been like, oh, wow, these guys must suck. Like, what a terrible start for them. Oh, 2 bad losses in a row. That scares the hell out of me, man, because I can see Arkansas losing this game and people being like, oh yeah, whatever, teams have things to figure out, more than I could see Baylor just getting punked like that in back-to-back games. And you start to have big picture questions about their season. And so without even watching either team play, I'm automatically like on guard going into this game. Cause I don't know. It's a narrative we haven't seen.
Well, it's just tough because, if anybody watched Curtis and I do our season predictions, we both predicted that Baylor game to be a loss. We all kind of had it scheduled ahead of time. Like, you had your built-in excuse of, oh, yeah, it's early in the year. You don't expect them to leave Fayetteville and go beat a good Baylor team. But them getting waxed by Gonzaga kind of ruins that. So now we don't even get to do that game. Whereas, it kind of ruined our built-in excuse. And so, again, is Baylor actually as bad as they looked last night? Probably not. Is Arkansas actually as bad as they looked on Friday night? Probably not. But you're right. Like, the national attention is going to be all over it, and they're going to be overreacting. The only hope you can have as an Arkansas fan is you end up on top in the end. And on top is relative, but I think ultimately Hog fans should strap in and not be willing to live and die with these first 2 results, regardless of how they look.
Yeah, because I can just see the whole written content or the headlines, the tweets, whatever it is it going to be like, if Arkansas loses to Baylor, is Cal actually rejuvenized? Is this Arkansas team really going to flourish under Cal? Like, there's going to be that thing, and they're going to start talking and discussing from the national media and the experts. Oh, guys, I don't know, man. This Cal, this thing may not work. Cal, all we heard about was rejuvenation and everything, but this team looks soft. No physical presence. There's no point guard. They're just going to go on and on and on about that. And then here's the thing, what I'm going to just tell Razorback fans, and I say it before every season and during the season, don't listen to that. Just go off of what the season result is at the end of the day. Because if you lose to Baylor, if you get your butt handed to you by Baylor early in the year, but you still go to a Final Four, you're not going to care that you got your butt handed to you by Baylor. Like, it's not even going to be relevant. So, yes, in the moment, for sure. Yeah, pay attention and check it out. And, of course, listen to Pod at the Palace in the postgame and do all that. But also don't take it to heart as in, man, this just ain't it. This ain't it. This is just going to be Must 2.0 last year all over again. Just don't buy into that nonsense. I hate that stuff.
I can see the John Rothstein tweet already, man. Baylor loses game 1 by 40 to Gonzaga, wins game 2 by 20 over Arkansas. Anarchy? Nope, just college basketball.
Man, and I will just want to punch myself in the face when that happens.
Correct. I will punch myself in the face on the post-game show if it happens.
Oh, man. But that's what sucks is that it is possible. I mean, that's what's crazy about college basketball. It is possible they lose by 20 to Baylor. It's possible that they could get upset by Lipscomb. I mean, you don't want it to. They shouldn't, but it is possible. So you got to take it in just the big picture, grand scheme of things. Don't let the little things end up being a problem for you or anything like that. But
yeah, and I want to go on the record right now with this Lipscomb thing because I watched that game from start to finish last night. I mean, it was pretty impressive what they did. I mean, Duquesne, that is the team that beat Mark Pope in the NCAA tournament first round last year. They have a new coach, but they've got some guys back. Like it's a decent team. I don't think they're a tournament team, but to get a true road win like that in your first game was impressive. The big man was really good with 30 points in that game. They got another guy, Pruitt, a guard, who's just a scrappy little dude. It's easy to look at that and be like, oh man, here we go. Arkansas is going to beat those guys by 20 tomorrow. I'm calling my shot right now.
Well, I mean, in a quick turnaround as well. I mean, they literally played yesterday and they're playing in Fayetteville tomorrow. Arkansas should definitely be able to take care of business. And honestly, I know Cal has lost to some low-level teams in the early part of the season in his past. But one thing you feel good about is that Arkansas should be able to just straight up out-talent a lot of teams. And when I say a lot of teams, like even some teams in their own conference. And whereas Arkansas's always had a lot of talent, especially the last 5 or 6 years, but I feel like there's going to be games where Cal's team this year just kind of runs dudes off the floor. And not saying that Arkansas didn't do that at times under Eric Musselman, but even some of these non-conference games early in the year, when you don't shoot threes and you don't really get out and run, it's hard to blow teams out. And so how often do you remember Arkansas beating teams by 30 plus? It happened here and there, but it really wasn't something that Arkansas could just roll out the balls and know they were going to blow out some of these early teams. I do think Arkansas is going to be equipped, maybe not Lipscomb necessarily, but some of these teams in non-conference, like the Pacifics of the world and the Maryland East Shores of the world, they should be able to just roll the balls out and whip them by 40 just on talent alone.
Yeah, they should. They absolutely should. And we're going to get to some of the specials going on with the Bet Saracen app for the Razorback basketball season. But as of right now, Arkansas is favored by 17.5 points over Lipscomb, and the over-under set at 153.5, according to Bet Saracen. So if I'm just telling you right now, I'm not going to touch it whatsoever. But if you feel like you feel like Arkansas is going to roll and not even look back, then put some money on it with Bet Saracen because I don't know. I love betting on college basketball, but the early part of college basketball is just really tough on me. I feel like I never get it right, and I always lose. It's a frustrating thing.
It's going to take Razorback fans, I think, a little bit of an adjustment to realize that this is not the Eric Musselman era anymore of you get a, 18, 20-point lead on a team in the second half, and then you just take the air out of the ball for the last 10 minutes of the game. Cal doesn't do that so much. Those Kentucky teams would beat opponents to Andrews points by like 50 on occasions. Arkansas just never did that under Muss for the reason that he was just shortening and playing the possession game. And that always made it tricky on betting. We had to think about that all the time. Me and Andrew talked about it a ton. It's like, Arkansas is favored by 17.5. They'll probably get up 20 by halftime, but you know how this is going to go. They're going to start screwing around. It's going to be ISO ball. It's going to be lazy. They're not going to be playing their style. The next thing you know, a team hits a couple threes. It's a 10-point game. You're calling a timeout. So hopefully we're on the other end of that. It might take a little while to start believing it.
Yeah, and I was looking at this. Apparently, according to Bart Torvik, our guy, has Arkansas as a 13.7 favorite over Lipscomb. So he's he's a little bit not as sold as the rest of the gambling markets.
Well, there's not a computer out there that believes Arkansas is any good.
Yeah, no, it's like on paper, this Arkansas team, weirdly enough, the metrics just do not like them. But as we spoke about the other day, like it's going to flip in a pretty drastic fashion there. But I thought that was interesting that it'll be interesting as it gets closer. After Arkansas plays a game, there will be a different data set to see if like the Ken Palms and Torviks of the world have Arkansas favored over Baylor by the time that game rolls around on Friday.
Mm-hmm. All right, so a few of the chats that we want to get into, because we will get into some of the prop plays and some of the fun stuff, specials going on with the Razorback basketball season, how we can help you win some money. But kind of like what Braden was saying, he's like, hey, Lipscomb's going to have those some heavy legs with that quick turnaround. You know, hey, it's a real thing.
I get it, but if you watched Arkansas play on Friday, you hope that's the case because your legs are still heavy. My legs are heavy from watching them play against TCU. It was nuts. I've never seen a team look that out of shape. I understand they've been practicing with 5 guys or whatever, and so like it's going to take a little bit of time, but it was alarming to me.
I will say, Curtis, I just talking about, because I've seen a lot of comments, a lot of people talking about the whole they're not in shape type of thing, and they're blaming it on the short rotation, which like has a factor in this time of year. But I think it's like it's not that unreasonable to ask your top 7 guys to play 28 minutes. Like it's really not, especially in the middle of the season. And so I think everyone kind of used that as their way to be like, see, depth is the issue. But as we've said before, like you really don't need 10, 11 guys to be successful in basketball. And so even though Friday it did look that way where they run out of gas, it's like, I don't necessarily think the answer is adding to the rotation. You agree?
Yeah, you need 10, 11 guys to be able to practice basketball, and that's what they haven't been able to do. Yeah. And so just not being able to go up and down. And then, yeah, I mean, you can practice against the GAs or whatever, but the intensity level is not the same. Like there's a difference in conditioning. I'm sure they've been running and everything like that, and they're in good shape. I mean, they're in a hell of a lot better shape than I am physically, but being in game shape for those games like that TCU game that gets so physical and being able to hold up down the stretch, that's what takes a little bit of time. And they're just now, I mean, Cal said last night, thank you, Michael. That's brilliant. Cal said last night that yesterday was the first time they've been able to practice since like official practices started with 10 guys.
Well, that's like to answer the question. No, they have not all practiced together. Like a lot of these guys have been in and out. John L. Davis. I mean, Trevin Brazil was even a guy that Chin Coleman was saying hadn't practiced a ton. Like you go through the roster, there's not many guys who have not been banged up or had some type of weird thing. Because like even DJ Wagner at the beginning of practice wasn't really fully out there. He was taking pictures and stuff.
Your 3 freshmen are the only guys.
Yeah, right. And so it's like, so to answer the question, literally no, they have not been able to all practice together, and you're kind of seeing the results of that.
Also, David comes in with just a simple question of, would you rather lose to Lipscomb and win over Baylor or vice versa? I mean, to me, I'd rather lose to Lipscomb and beat Baylor personally, but
I don't know. I'd rather beat Lipscomb and then lose to Baylor just because I kind of mentally prepared for that.
Yeah. You lose your first game at Bud Walton Arena to a mid-major. That's, I don't know. I don't want to see that.
I mean, it'll only be a couple days that it has to simmer, but still, I don't know. I'd rather than beat Lipscomb just to like play, just do what the metrics expect.
Yeah. Well, listen, there's been enough losing at home in Fayetteville for the other sports. So let's just not make it a thing for the Razorback basketball team to start off either. Fayetteville fans or Razorback fans in Fayetteville need to get something that's nice to watch, and it'll be pretty brutal when football's already let them down at home. Hopefully, Arkansas basketball doesn't let them down at home in the beginning part of it. That's for sure. Also, there's another chat that I was going to bring up. Oh, yeah, look at this. We got a UK fan, a Kentucky fan, not the United Kingdom. But Kentucky fan says, I come in peace. Love watching our old guys play, especially DJ. Feel like you guys will get the best version of him. Good luck, except for February 1st. So
I like that. I respect that and appreciate it. And I like hearing that about DJ, too. It's been unanimous for Adu Thiero, right? With Kentucky fans. Just I remember the interviews we got at SEC Media Day, and Andrew, you've mentioned this, where it was just overrun with comments from Kentucky fans being like, "Man, really gonna miss that dude. Man, really wish him the best." So that's cool to see, and especially given the situation with DJ Wagner, I don't think it was about him last year at Kentucky so much as people just like, dude, look at these other guards. What the hell is really going on here? It's nice to see him get some love. People were just waiting to jump in the comments on Big Z. Nobody had anything to say after he, took a dump on Kansas, but He gets burned in the pick and roll a couple times against TCU, and people are all over it. So, Kentucky fan, whatever your name was, we appreciate you, and tell some of your friends to show Big Z some love, all right? Because he's the one who hasn't gotten it so far.
Well, dude, before I even knew who Big Z was, I remember watching a Kentucky game and seeing all the student section having cutouts of his face. And we laughed about it because we thought he looked like the Dracula Flow guy a little bit with the hairline. I was like, who the hell is this guy? And then they were like, oh, it's this Croatian big man that wasn't eligible. And so now everyone's excited. And so, yeah, it is funny to see the revisionist history where all the Kentucky fans don't seem to like those guys that they were fawning over mere months ago. But it is nice to see a rational, normal human being who's like, hey, I don't have any animosity towards those guys who used to play at Kentucky. Because why would?
Yeah, exactly. And I want to clarify something too. The last time the Razorbacks had a player playing basketball from Croatia, they won the national championship. So I just want to throw it out there. Shout out to Davor Rhoback. I know you're listening out there, Davor. Yeah, one of the great Croatians of Razorback basketball history. So I did want to also bring this up since somebody asked about the chat. I guess it was Michael, who's always wild, but he's like, did Muss take a shot at Arkansas Curtis at last night's presser? Sorry, the punctuation always gets me.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to play the video because I do want to talk about it. But here's Muss after last night. Because who they play, Curtis? Which team?
Chattanooga.
Very, very high level basketball. But this was after the game. And Eric Musselman in the press conference. And apologize about the quality of it. A little different there at USC basketball than what it is at Arkansas. But try to take a listen.
It's not on them.
Do you expect that maybe there were going to be a lot of empty seats tonight? And just in general, does it make you think back to, when you first started at Nevada, Arkansas, about, how to kind of get things off the ground?
Yeah, I mean, there was not, despite what Arkansas thinks, the first couple games, there was half-empty building. At Nevada, I could have counted them. So, yeah, you got to win, and like I said, you got to create an energy, meaning the players on the floor, that people feel it and want to be around it.
What were your thoughts?
Okay.
Well, first of all, there were more people at Pine Bluff and Hot Springs a couple weeks ago than there were at Eric Musselman's debut at USC. I get what he's saying about once they really got it rolling, how crazy it was. I don't know. I wasn't at the first game or two that he coached at Bud Walton Arena. I don't know. But I was at some of the last ones, and those were half full buildings. Why? Because they were getting 30-pieced every other day at home. So, I don't know. Maybe he needs to get offline a little bit or something. I don't know why he felt the need to say that. And I love Muss. Everybody knows that I am a Muss guy, have been a big Muss guy, have a good relationship with him. But why are we doing that? Despite what Arkansas thinks, what?
I did think that was a little weird, just because it didn't seem necessary. I think he could have made the point. Because what's crazy is the actual point he was trying to make, I don't even disagree with. Because, Curtis, you know that I used to complain all the time about Arkansas's early season crowds where, obviously Arkansas fans get up for the Auburn and the Kentucky and they get up for the big ones. But it would always drive me nuts where I'm like, dude, second home game on a Friday night and there's just maybe 12,000 people there. Now, obviously 12,000, Eric Musselman will never coach in front of 12,000 fans again at USC, which is why I agree he should shut up and not say anything about crowd sizes when comparing Arkansas to USC. But I did used to get frustrated about how it wasn't unanimous attendance all the time. They would kind of only get up for the big ones. But I just think that's a weird it's a weird thing to say, especially because even if USC's really rolling, he's probably not going to see half as many fans for a typical home game at USC as he would see at Arkansas all the time.
Well, and my thing too was, again, it would have been a big nothing burger, but it was the way that he said it, of just being despite what Arkansas thinks, is in almost hey, they thought everything was just, they did nothing wrong as fans and they were always fully supportive of me. Well, let me tell you something, they always weren't. So that it just kind of came off that vibe. But I went back and watched just a little highlight from War Machine. Shout out to you, from Muss's first real game at Bud Walton Arena. And were there empty seats? Yep, there was. And was it probably 13, 14,000? Probably so. But my thing is this: what schools, what places, what programs, when you're playing a mid-major game, opening in the season, you're going to have 20,000 or at least 100% capacity at those games? Like almost never, if not never. So
Yeah.
I didn't think that was really a shot that's like towards Arkansas, as if like, oh no, everybody else has packed out crowds for no matter what the game is, but Arkansas, yeah, they maybe want you to believe that they do, but they don't. That's the way I put it. Was like, okay, still, like you said, Andrew, getting 13,000 people is still an incredible thing for a November 5th in 2019 opening up the season.
I mean, you could say the lowest attended game of his entire Arkansas tenure, not counting COVID, he won't cross that at USC, like literally ever. You could really make that argument.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And it is a scheduling thing. And I cracked up, man, because one of the first questions that he was asked, I listened to his whole presser. I watched the game. Shout out to Josh Cohen. But anyway, he was asked about like, hey, you didn't really know what you had. It's a brand new team. But after you guys played the way you did against Gonzaga, they beat Gonzaga in an exhibition. It's like, do you wish you would have scheduled more aggressively in the non-conference? Like, do you wish you would have maybe had a better team on there or whatever? And that just cracked me up because we all know his philosophy on all that. And he was just like, well, I think the Big Ten offers plenty of opportunities against high quality competition, whatever. But I was like, buddy, I felt like a Kentucky fan watching some of the things with Cal and Arkansas, because I heard that and I was like, oh yeah, you guys don't know yet how they do the non-conference scheduling. You'll figure it out. So
yeah, it'll hit you like a ton of bricks. I was hoping that you were going to say that he brought up. He's just like, well, Ruda, our guy Ruda with the schedule, he's on top of that. And I was hoping he would bring up something like that and give a shout out to old Ruda out there. But either way, I don't want to be that way where we're constantly looking at it and dissecting everything that Muss says, because he's gone. Because I don't want to be like what Cal says. But when it's a direct comment towards Arkansas, that's the thing that was really apparent in that.
It just shows you that I know there are plenty of Arkansas fans who probably saw the exhibition or highlight from the first game or whatever, and they immediately tweet and it's like, oh, look at that crowd, stinks or whatever. But it just shows you that he's seeing that and it's affecting him. And it just shouldn't. That's all.
I mean, and look, we know Muss cares about stuff like this, because I agree. Like, we really don't need to like do a weekly Muss update where like, here's what's going on. But you can tell it has to bother him because he cares about putting asses in seats. He cares about appealing to the fans, and like that was a big part of what he did. He used to have a job in marketing even before he was coaching, so he cares about this stuff. So I know it has to get under his skin, knowing that like he's never going to experience those crazy atmospheres ever again, or at least
I hope he gets it rocking there.
Yeah.
I really do. And his team looked, they're going to be boring because they can't play fast. But, I mean, they looked pretty good, I thought, last night.
Mm. Well, it's like I've always said and not like me, but just in general, if you win, you're going to build and you're going to have crowds show up. It's just a matter of it. Like, Tennessee baseball was no man's land, but guess what happened when Tony V came in? They started winning. Now look at them. They got crowds that they're building new places because winning does that. So all it's going to take for him to win. And again, I have no problem with Muss. Still love Muss. I love what he did here at Arkansas, and I'm never going to take issue with him. And it's, I'm with you too, Curtis. I hope he gets it going there. Just not against Arkansas anytime that they play. But,
yeah,
it's going to be funny to see, though, like if any, because we know Muss can, lash out a little bit at times. So it'll be funny to see if there's any more lashing outs throughout the rest of the season.
And again, like I see people in here being like, it wasn't a shot at Arkansas. Well, he could have just said, yeah, like my first few games at Arkansas, it was maybe half full or whatever. He said, despite what Arkansas thinks, keyword there. That's how he started it. Therefore, yes, it was a shot at Arkansas or those people who were in his Twitter mentions. So, and
it was
we're not trying to create a damn narrative here. He did it himself. Right. So, yeah.
Well, and also to throw it into, here's the thing. We know Eric Musselman. We know what he said when he says things and how he says things and what they mean. It's not like we're just looking at a tweet, a text, and be like, "Oh, what is this?" It's like, no, we know Muss. We know how he does things. We know how he handles his business. So yeah, it was absolutely a shot. Was it a small shot? Yeah, but still a shot nonetheless. Yeah, the idea of this, like, this is overblown. You guys are ridiculous. No, you're ridiculous. How about that?
And shout out to some of the former Hogs who were kind of balling out last night.
Yeah,
Caleb
dude.
Battle for Gonzaga, he had 12 points and 5 boards. Pinion led Arkansas State in scoring. Darian Ford was second on the team in scoring, and that big win. Devo Davis had 10 for Oklahoma State and a win over Doug Gottlieb, which was weird. Layden Blocker, I don't know if he started or not. I think he had like 5 points. He played for DePaul. Tremont Mark was hurt, though. He didn't play against Ohio State. I was kind of looking forward to watching that game. As soon as I saw he was out with an ankle, I didn't pay any attention to it. I just know they lost. So
Jackson Robinson had, I think, 8 points, 3 assists.
I always forget that he was a Razorback.
He was.
I don't think you're the only one that forgets that. But
I mean, it's like,
yeah.
Jokes aside, it's like 3 years ago now, which is crazy.
I know. It's like, seems like a lifetime ago. But going to the Caliph battle thing, it's, in fact, he's wearing 99 is weird. Like
Aaron Judge, shout out.
Bro.
Yeah. It's like, just see him out there, which, just recently, what was it? Last year, I believe was the first year that you could wear numbers above 5 in college basketball. So I always kept wondering, is somebody going to do something crazy? Well, the Caliph battle out there going from, wasn't he 0 at Arkansas?
He was 0.
So 0 to 99. Maybe that's what he was doing, 0 to 100. It's what's going to be like. I don't know. I'm just throwing things out.
Maybe he had 0 because he was one of those like, oh, this is how many people can guard me. But then he faced some people that can guard him. He's like, I don't know. And there's about 99 people that can guard me.
yeah. After the season, I'm gonna update those stats. So,
jeez. But no, it'll be fun to see what some of those former Hogs end up doing at their respective places and everything too. And we'll talk a little bit about that in our SEC update later in the show. But right now, I want to jump into a little bit of the prop plays that you can get at Bet Saracen for the Razorback basketball season. They're going to continue to have specials each and every game for Razorback basketball, but only one time in one situation do you get to have some cool specials when it comes to the Razorback basketball season. So check it out at Bet Saracen. Download the app on your iPhone or on your Android. You can also check them out online at betsaracen.com. So a few of those, though, that I want to get into for as far as just season specials here. I was laughing at a few of them because some of them were just like, I don't know. I feel good about it, but it probably means that it's going to be problematic. But it's the Cal those Hog specials. So if
how
you're
do
trying
we
to
feel
find
about
them,
that, by the way?
I don't like it.
Don't like it at all.
Don't
No.
like it? Okay.
No.
I don't hate it. I just don't like it.
When he took the job and we were there for his intro press conference and I was seeing that stuff, I think I was caught up in the moment a little bit because I was like, oh, okay, I like it. Nice play on words. Now I'm kind of with you guys where I'm like,
Yeah, I just I feel like when they do this and talking about marketing and all that, they're like, okay, so we got Cal. Okay, so now let's think about what type of phrases have ever been used. And it's like, well, there's call the Hogs. Oh, call, Cal, remove the L, Cal the Hogs. Boom, there it is. So I'm like, all right, we can do better. We can do better than that. Come on now. But either way, Cal those Hogs specials that you can get at Bet Saracen. We'll start with some of the winning ones. There's some fun ones, but the winning ones, like for instance, plus 2,500 for Arkansas to win the SEC regular season and the SEC tournament. So if you feel like Arkansas is just going to sweep through this SEC, no problem at all. You can get that for plus 2,500 on Bet Saracen. And also Arkansas to finish runner-up in the national championship, plus 3,000. Plus 3,000 to get to that point.
Feels like 95.
I'm telling you, you're feeling good about it. Arkansas to win the national championships, plus 4,000. John L. Davis to win the John R. Wooden Award is plus 4,000. Arkansas to win the national championship and John L. Davis be the MVP, plus 5,000. And this is actually the one, guys, I'm going to be honest, I took because I don't know. I think it'd be fun. Arkansas to go undefeated against non-ranked teams during the regular season, plus 10,000.
Am I the only one that thinks it's ridiculous to see the odds on some of those other ones and then see this one at plus 10,000? Like I expect that to happen.
Dude, that's why I hammered it because I was like, if you were going to tell me what is the more likely, playing like what's more likely? What's more likely between all of those things I just listed? Or Arkansas to go undefeated against non-ranked opponents. I'm like, oh, Arkansas to go undefeated against non-ranked opponents, not even questionable. Yeah, oh, okay, well, if you want to do that, if you want to do that, it's quadruple the odds than Arkansas winning the SEC regular season and the tournament. So that was hilarious to me.
Having SEC tournament and SEC regular season one, and Arkansas goes like freaking 16-3 or something in SEC play, and then they go to the tournament and lose in the quarterfinals. Like that's just
it's
that's
the
brutal.
classic SEC tournament. We don't care. We've clinched our berth. I'd be so mad
if they win the SEC regular season title. That means they probably didn't lose to any unranked teams.
Yes.
So it's like that would have hit. It's like I can't imagine living in that world. I think that's more likely than Arkansas winning the national championship, but odds wise, does not appear.
Well, and also too, how many teams just over the past 20 years have won the SEC regular season and the tournament? It's got to be maybe 2 or 3.
I know Cal did it that one year.
Yeah, Cal did it. I think Bama did it.
Nate Oates did it. Yeah.
Yeah. Either it wasn't last year. I guess maybe the year before.
A couple years ago, I think.
Yeah. So that happened.
He was giving the finger to LSU during the title game. You remember that?
I do remember that.
Yes.
I do.
Yeah.
There was one year where Kentucky, Cal's Kentucky team was like the best team in the country all year, and then Vanderbilt beat them in the SEC title game randomly. Vanderbilt just got hot towards the end of the year. But I remember that being a year where like the number one could have won both.
Yeah. Well, by the way, folks, also in the special I just listed, the max bet is $100. So it's not like you can just go in there and bet the farm. It's a max bet of $100 for those. Now, if you want to go to another level, these are the max bets of $250 on Bet Saracen. Arkansas to reach the SEC tournament final. Okay. A little bit more realistic. Plus 350. Arkansas to beat Texas A&M, Texas, Ole Miss in the regular season. Plus 600. Arkansas to beat Alabama, Auburn, and Tennessee in the regular season, plus 1,000. Arkansas to win their first 10 games of the regular season, plus 1,100. And Arkansas to win first 5 home games against ranked top 25 teams during the regular season, plus 1,750.
Okay, let's go back to those regular season wins. 3 against who was it? It was A&M.
A&M, Texas, and Ole Miss.
Ole Miss. You play 2 of those at home.
Yeah.
And you play Texas twice. So like
that's right.
You get your opportunity there. Yeah. That's a good one. And the other one is going to be tough because it was that's at Tennessee and at Auburn.
Yeah. And then Bama.
Else. Yeah. Shit. Yeah.
That one's hard.
Tough, yeah. That one's tough. The other one should happen.
Yes. It's like, I think that if I was going to take out of all these, I'd probably do the A&M Texas Ole Miss regular season one.
Yeah. What was the last one you said for 1,750?
Arkansas to win the first 5 home games against ranked opponents during the regular season.
I like that.
Yeah.
Get
but the thing is, I don't know.
Team in Bud.
But how many ranked? That's the thing. How many ranked teams are going to be in Bud Walton Arena? They're going to get 5 because the schedule's pretty crappy here.
Maybe Ole Miss.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They'll nix it. They'll nix it if you don't.
Ranked right now.
Well, but here's the thing. Yeah, it's like Ole Miss and Florida at that point should probably be ranked like on the back end of the top 25. So like if you had to play ranked opponents in there, that's, probably what you would like to have. And then, Bama will be, so you got to get that one. Outside of that, Texas,
Oakland
when they come in.
Oakland might be there, Curtis.
Honestly, this is the pathway. It's Ole Miss, Florida, Alabama, Texas, and then Mississippi State at the end of the year. That's the way to get there. Otherwise, I think you're right, John. Like it's not going to happen.
I loved this bet with that his first 5 home games against ranked is going to go till March. But Curtis, are we 100% sure Arkansas is not starting 10-0?
No, we're not sure.
I mean, they pretty much. I mean, it's okay. You beat Baylor now. Illinois is in that first 10, right?
Mm-hmm.
Does that go? What's the 10th game? Like Michigan?
It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, Michigan is the 10th game.
And so you don't even have to play Miami?
No, you do. Miami's before that.
Okay, so you got to beat Illinois,
you
Miami.
have to get all 4 of those good ones, yeah.
Okay. I don't know, though. I still don't hate it. I feel like if they beat Baylor, I'll be like, dude, this team's definitely going to be 10-0.
Yeah, they're not going to lose, bro.
Yeah. Oh, no, that's what I'll be saying for sure. Absolutely. But no, I'm with you. Because who knows even what those teams are going to look like at that point in time. Like, we think Illinois is going to be good. We think Miami's going to be good. But shoot, man, we've seen teams that are supposed to be good, aka Arkansas last year, just Michigan fall off the wagon quick. Yeah.
Last night, they look good.
Yeah. So, yeah, if those are just a few of the team ones. Now let's look at some of the futures for the players.
All right, I like this.
These are fun. We'll start with the best odds at plus 105. Trevin Brazil over 8.5 scoring average and over 6.5 rebound average on the season. I'm not taking it.
He could. I mean, he damn near had that last year.
Yeah, he could get it. 7 rebounds.
Yeah, I just don't know.
Over 6.5. I guess he can get 6.6 rebounds, huh?
Mm-hmm.
He averaged 8.6 and 6 last year.
So you're saying that
he playing per game last year?
You said what?
How were his minutes last year? Like 24, 25 per game?
25 minutes per game on one leg.
Yeah. So he'll probably play 21 minutes a game on 2 legs this year. I don't hate it. I just don't like that it's plus 105.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the other one, of course, is John L. Davis. Over 20.5 scoring average per game and over 6.5 rebounds.
Really do not like this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw that one. I'm like, golly, at plus 115? Shoot.
I mean, he didn't even average 20 at FAU.
Right.
Right.
Like, he'd be on a better team and he's going to average 21 and 7.
Yeah. Don't see that happening. But how about this one? Also plus 115. John L. Davis over 4.5 30-plus point games. Do you think that he gets to 5 30-point games this year?
I just think they got too many dudes, but I mean, he's capable.
Yeah. Yeah. I can see like going up against, one of these low mid-major teams and him just feeling it and letting loose and firing off a bunch of threes. I could totally see it, but
that's the thing. Like he could do it 2 or 3 times in the non-conference and just nobody even notices because it's against Pacific or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's interesting. I don't like, if you asked me if I thought it was going to happen, I'd say no, but
right.
Yeah. Again, like the odds, like I feel like if something like that, like 5 30-point games is a lot of 30-point games. So I would need to be getting like plus 350, plus 400 or something like that.
Well, and also to me, if he's hitting that, then that 20.5 and over 6.5 might be a little bit more realistic to take too. If he's doing that, having that type of game. We'll stick with John L. Davis. How about for plus 125? John L. Davis over 39.5 3-point percentage and over 48.5 field goal percentage on the season.
I mean, I think he's got a really good shot at doing that. He did last year, but it's plus 125. I mean,
that's a lot.
There's only going to be a handful of guys in the country that do that. So why are we? I don't know. I'm having a hard time understanding. No disrespect, Carlton, but like
I'm gonna be honest with you. Like some of these are kind of insane. But I will say there's a couple that like I actually don't hate. Like DJ Wagner. This is an interesting one. DJ Wagner over 14.5 10-point games. So he just had. So what do we think DJ Wagner's averaging this year? Like 12, 13? Somewhere in that like low teens range.
Yeah.
He just has to score double figures in half the games.
I think he does that.
I actually kind of, it's plus 150. So it's like better odds than all these ones that we've been talking about.
Something easier to do with better odds.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, that's the first one that like really catches my eye. I mean, Jonas Adu double doubles. He could technically have a double double like every day. He'd have to have over 7.5 at plus 135. I'd like to see him healthy before I hit that one.
I would too. He had more than that last year, but yeah, I'm with you. Like we just don't know what he's going to look like and how long is it going to take him to be, up to full speed and playing 25, 30 minutes a game like we expect. I don't know.
Yeah, because some of these, it's so funny because the higher odds on some of these, the better I like them, just overall. But, like you brought up the thing with, I guess, DJ Wagner having that. Well, the other one at plus 165 is DJ Wagner having over 10.5 points per game scoring average and then over 4.5 assists a game per average. Now, the assists may be a little bit high, but the scoring, I think, is easy money there, too. So,
who's the last Razorback point guard to average more than 4.5 assists?
Jabril Durham.
I was about to say, I think it actually is Jabril Durham.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a minute. Now, he did have 3 per game last year, and he's also not going to be the primary point guard. I don't know. But I'm with you. Like, it
reminds me of the defensive ends when it would be like 7.5 tackles, and you're like, well, I don't know if they can do that.
Yeah.
What are you trying to say, Curtis? You trying to say that Jabril Durham's better than DJ Wagner? Is that what you're saying?
As an assist first point guard, yeah, hell yeah.
And both of them had one skill set, and it was to rack up assists.
And most of them were like alley oops to Moses Kingsley. So yeah, that was true. Let's see. How about, and these are a few team ones too, but turnovers, because those are always very important. But at plus 210, Arkansas team under 12.5 turnover average, but under 12.5 turnover average for Arkansas and under 13.5 opponent turnover average. So basically, most of the games they play are pretty clean both ways.
I don't hate that. I do think Arkansas is going to clean up the turnover stuff quite a bit. They've been so good taking care of the ball in the first half of these games. And then in the second half, they've had 10 turnovers in both of them. And I just think, it's more experience and guys coming together and, game legs and everything like that. I think they're going to be pretty decent in the turnover department. I kind of wish that it was the over on the opponent's turnovers, though, because they seem pretty damn disruptive. They're like Boogie's so good in the passing lanes. DJ is kind of a ball hawk. Thiero he's just a kind of a game wrecker in there. I don't know. It seems like a group that's going to force a good amount of turnovers. 13.5 is a lot. So I don't think anybody's crazy for taking that, but I feel like they're probably going to be over it.
Do you feel like Arkansas rebounding is and look, I'd have to really look it up. Over 39.5 rebounds per game for Arkansas and under 36.5 opponent rebounds. That is plus 260. So if you think this is going to be like a damn good rebounding team, but I'd have to look at 36. The 36.5 opponent is what I'd have to really check on.
Well, yeah.
How many rebounds per game does a team get?
I feel like it's in that mid 30s range.
Whatever Arkansas got last year, add more. I think that's probably a good average.
That is a safe assumption, I think.
Yeah, just add more than that.
Last year, they averaged 34.5 rebounds per game and gave up 36.3. So it's ballpark,
Yeah.
But I guess 40 rebounds for a team is a lot, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
That would have to be top 20 nationally.
One other one that I want to throw in, because I know we got some other things we'll get into, but the plus 400 one here, the highest odds, according to these little prop plays for the futures. Carter Knox over 3.5 double-doubles.
Smash that, man.
I am, because I'm like, even if he doesn't play a whole lot and he's like the number, all this, I believe that there are going to be games that Arkansas is smoking some other team, or they're just outgunning them, and they're going to have players like Carter Knox step in and play 25 minutes, 30 minutes, where he could absolutely get a double-double. And you're talking about just 4 of those on the year?
I mean,
I like that one.
Carter Knox has started both of these exhibition games. He's going to start 32 games for Arkansas. John Calipari gets a McDonald's All-American freshman, and he's going to play him. Like he's going to have plenty of opportunities to do that. I know he'll have 4 double-digit scoring games in non-conference. He'll have it by the end of the damn month. But yeah, the rebounding side of things could be tricky for him. I can't recall how well he's been rebounding in these exhibitions, but
y'all ready for the correct player one that I'm going to leave us on? Plus 200, Bozo Brazil, over 35.5 3-point percentage, which may sound high. He's done that in almost all of his years of his career. I think all he's got to do is shoot 36%, over 48.5 field goal percentage. The reason I really like it, the only shot attempts he's taken in the preseason, the only shot attempts he's going to be taking moving forward are threes and around the basket.
Yeah.
And dunks, yes. And a lot of them are going to be assisted. He shoots around 50% for his career. I think he could shoot 49% from the field. Now the threes, that's going to be the determining factor. But I mean, he's a career 36% shooter. I think 36% on the threes is very doable for Trevin. And I think he could get plus 200 too. I like that, to do basically what he averages for his career.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like that one.
Yeah. And so I'm saying, a lot of these were fun no matter what and are fun, but it's the higher odds ones that I'm liking the most.
I know, right?
Yeah. So it's like, baby, dude, if you listen to us and if some of these come to fruition, we're all going to make a lot of money with Bet Saracen. So start hammering those prop plays, folks. They even got prop plays up. We won't go through them all, but they got prop plays up for the Lipscomb game too. So if you want to get in on the nose, be sure to check it out. But I did just want to bring up one for that one, or I guess 2. Both of them are at plus 300. Billy Richmond over a half 3-pointer made and over 1.5 steals. That's plus 300. And the other one, Boogie Fland over 3.5 free throws made and over 5.5 assists. So those are your those are some of your long shots.
I don't hate that one. I don't hate the Billy Richmond one. In fact, I actually kind of love it because like, look, he took a pull up 3 the other night, which he got in trouble for. But it's like he's not afraid to let that sucker fly. I think if he ends up playing 12 to 15 minutes in a game that Arkansas should win, I can see him grabbing a couple steals.
Yep, I can see it.
See our friend Pooh Bear has made Trevin Brazil the Taylen Green of the basketball team in his eyes.
Won't touch the floor once all SEC big man starts playing. That's right, because Brazil is not going to play a single minute. Big Z is just going to play 40 minutes.
I got bad news for you, my friend, if you think that's how it's going to play out.
Well, dude, you know what's so funny about this? I feel like Trevin and Big Z are going to be the two most polarizing players on the team, and everyone's going to have like their guy that they prefer. Like, oh, I hate Big Z. You should just play Trevin. I hate Trevin. You should just play Big Z. And they're more or less the same value, you know, like level of player where like they'll have their nights, they'll have their off nights. Like I just don't think it's worth hating one and loving the other. Like I think Arkansas is going to need both of them, and I think they're both going to play. And so it's like I think you should just live with the roller coaster.
Matchup wise, it's a hell of a lot easier to play Big Z off the floor than it is Trevin. It's also a hell of a lot easier to play Trevin with Jonas Adu than it is Big Z.
Trevin can move, man.
Yep.
Yeah,
I may do it for the over unders that we have some fun with maybe tomorrow, just the random ones. But there's going to be somebody be like, why are we playing Big Z and Trevin Brazil at the same time? Well, we're getting smoked down low. Play them both at the same time. And then they do, and then it doesn't go as what they thought. And they're like, I just don't understand what Cal's doing. You got to work on them bowlers getting down there and rebounding. That's what you got to do.
Dude, I wouldn't be surprised tomorrow night if they wind up playing a significant amount of minutes with Adut Thiero as the center.
I can't wait.
Is Lipscomb little?
Yes, but their center is like 6'6", and he can shoot threes and pick and pop and put it on the floor and stuff. And I don't know how good of a thing that is for Big Z. We'll see. And then, I mean, do you really want Trevin guarding a dude on the perimeter a bunch? Like I would not be surprised at all if we saw it, especially after we were in Fort Worth, Andrew, and they had either Z or Trevin on the floor, and they switched them off to defend a wing. That way Adut Thiero could guard the big center because they were having problems with it. It wouldn't surprise me if we saw that at all.
And dude, I do agree with what you said about how like it's just easier to play Big Z off the floor. Like I don't really see a matchup this year where I'm like, oh yeah, I don't know if Trevin can log minutes in this one. Whereas like Big Z, you kind of can't see that. So it's like in a weird way, I think Trevin is more of a lock to play more, if that makes sense. Like even though overall Big Z might have more starts and more minutes on the year overall.
No, I'm with you on that. I do want to get into a little bit of your SEC update presented by Rhoback, folks. Check out Rhoback.com. Awesome clothing, real high-end stuff. They got some Razorback gear, but as well as a lot of great gear, performance gear, if you will, on their website. And they have a great deal for you because I had somebody hit me up today like, man, this stuff is kind of expensive. I was like, well, it's kind of amazing. So you got to get what you pay for. But also because by listening to us, you get a discount, 20% off. 20% off your first purchase with Rhoback.com. Just use promo code HOGSBY20. You can remember that. You're not stupid. At least I don't think you are. So yeah, HOGSBY20, 20% off. And you can get it with Rhoback.com. So check it out today. A little SEC update. A few teams played from the SEC last night. I wanted to bring up, I guess the big one, or at least the one that was memorable, is Texas A&M. Buzz Williams. Hated to see them lose to the fine Golden Knights of Central Florida in that game over there in Orlando. But Texas A&M loses 64-61. And a court storming happened. I like the question you posed to me and Andrew Curtis last night about is this court storming allowed? But UCF felt like it was beating the Aggies, and it was pretty cool to see that, honestly.
I mean, realistically, UCF's not going to have a cooler win all year. I mean, look, I didn't watch the game. I don't know how good UCF is supposed to be, but I just mean like opener against A&M, who you weren't supposed to beat. I feel like that's probably going to be like the highlight of their season, right?
I mean, I would think so.
Taco Fall ain't walking through that door.
Taco Fall, forgot about Taco Fall. But also, what was it? They've been
last year, just for the record, UCF beat Kansas. They beat Texas. They beat Texas Tech. They beat TCU. They beat Oklahoma. They beat a lot of teams that are just as good or better than
they're a Big 12
Texas
team.
A&M. Yeah, and it's the craziest thing about it. If this was a couple of years ago, I'd be like, oh, hell yeah, for sure. You got to act like you're in the Big 12 now. And just, I'm sorry, guys, you can never rush the floor against Texas A&M basketball. You just can't do it. What the kids have fun? Have fun in the stands, bro. It's Texas A&M basketball. We don't do that.
But did they beat Texas A&M last year though, Curtis? They didn't. And this is different.
Well, hell, they probably would have. Texas A&M lost like 14 games last year. What are we doing? Oh my God, we beat Wade Taylor. Let's celebrate. You're not. Nobody's going to be able to convince me that was okay.
You know what?
Are they ranked? Are they ranked right now?
13th.
Yeah, they're not even in the top 10.
Good Lord, dude. Well, that is kind of a tough one. Like A&M's not a top 15 team.
No.
Yeah, I don't know.
I am all for anybody dancing on the grave of an A&M loss. Don't get me wrong, but come on.
Yeah, I know.
Hand up, I forgot that they were a Big 12 team. I really did think, I was like, dude, they're gonna be playing Tulsa and Wichita State. Like they're not gonna have another opportunity to rush the court. They're gonna have opportunities.
I will admit, when you asked me that last night, Curtis, I did not look up who they beat last year. The only thing I looked up is like, all right, so how many tournaments has this team been into? And I was like, okay, well, they've been to one tournament in 20 years. So I was like, okay, they don't have basketball success. I was not aware though that they beat those teams last year. So that's rough.
Here's what I'll say though. No, actually, I won't.
Okay.
Well, I was trying to see if okay, there it is on ESPN. UCF fans stormed the court after win over number 3 Kansas. All right, at least they did it for that one. So by them doing it against Kansas last year, I'm less upset about it. Had they not rushed against Kansas last season and then rushed against A&M this year, I'd have had a meltdown right now. I'm not as mad about it. All right.
It's also weird that I can vividly remember their one NCAA tournament appearance because it was against Zion and all those and RJ Barrett and all those guys at Duke, and I think they lost by like 1 or 2.
Is that the Taco Fall?
Yeah, it was Taco Fall. And they should have beat that Duke team, who ended up losing to somebody stupid in the Sweet 16. I think it was like a 1-8 game or something like that when they played UCF.
Well, I think it's maybe just a bunch of fans pissed off with the disappointing football season and the lack of success from KJ Jefferson, that they were just like, we needed something. So we took it to the football side of things.
Yeah,
dude, they played
a good emotional release.
None of which are KJ Jefferson. It's crazy. They have 7 quarterbacks on that UCF roster, and they're all playing except KJ.
Hey, Hawk fans, if you want Gus Malzahn to be the head coach, you might have a chance at it coming up pretty soon. Other teams, though, of the SEC, no, we mentioned a few of them. Ohio State beats Texas 80-72 as part of the Hall of Fame series there in Vegas.
Texas played well considering they were down 2 starters. I'll give them credit for that. I don't know if Ohio State's going to be any good or not this year, though.
Yeah, man, the Thad Matta ain't walking through that door.
That's right.
And,
who's at Ohio State these days? Head coach. It's not
it's Jake Diebler.
Okay.
It was his assistant. Yeah, they fired Holtman on Valentine's Day,
right?
And they wound up giving the job to the interim after the season.
That always goes really well every single time.
Yeah, it's really surprising. Holtman's he's coaching Layden Blocker now.
Shout out to that game. That was an interim coach bowl. Ohio State versus Texas.
Yeah, that's right.
How about that?
Right.
Oh man. Some other games of note, or at least I don't know of note, but still, Alabama destroys UNC Asheville 110-54. I mean, they're the number 2 team in the country, and they're really good. I hate to admit it, but they are. So not surprising there. Tennessee beats Gardner-Webb 80-64 there in Knoxville. So you had that. Right. Florida was actually struggling a little bit there with South Florida, getting a little crazy, but they ended up winning 98-83 over the mighty Bulls of South Florida. So got that victory.
South Florida
there.
Would have been good in that league.
Still,
just a tough situation for them,
Yeah. I thought you were going to say if Stan Heath was still there, and I was like, maybe not.
Or their
or their coach.
Yeah.
Yes.
Brutal.
Yes. Yeah, I forgot about that. I'm a
I
jerk.
forgot Stan Heath was there, actually.
Yeah. So the biggest game in all of the SEC last night, Kentucky beat Wright State 103-62. Guys, this team's fun. They're different. You know, it's just there's a culture about them. The fans are into it. It's just incredible. I can't wait to see what this Kentucky team does. But they won 103-62 over Wright State.
I did see, and it's what I mean. Like it looked like they were having fun out there and stuff. And it's whatever. I mean, you play the schedule in front of you, even though you put it together, and they've looked good from that standpoint so far. But some of the stuff is driving me nuts, man. It was like Mark Pope and his assistants wearing suits the way it was intended to be. They looked the part. It's like, come on, bro.
Let's worry about winning. How about that? Let's do that first. Don't worry about what clothes they're wearing or this is significant. Shut up. Just win, and that's all that matters.
Let them win games, and then our boy Matt Jones again is just like, yeah, guys, halftime of the Kentucky game. They're talking about John Calipari. Wait, Bert, you were talking about John Calipari during the first half of the Kentucky game. Like, how are you now getting pissed about people talking about Cal? Come on, bro.
And I hate to admit this, but stop traffic. It's because John Calipari is a lot more interesting than y'all and Mark Pope and all that. That's why they keep talking about it. So, sorry. They're not doing it just for the sake of doing it. It's because, hey, they know it's a lot more interesting. South Carolina.
Yeah.
North Florida beat them 74-71. They're in Colonial Life Arena in South Carolina.
Michie Johnson ain't walking through that door. Mm-hmm. He walked through Ohio State's.
Is that where he's at?
Yeah. He Jimmy Whitted it.
Oh, man, that's right. Yes. I love that Jimmy Whitted it. Also, Memphis beat Missouri 83-75.
Missouri, man. They were winning by 13 in the second half of that game and just blew it. And, that's Missouri still has not won a game in 2024. That's tough. 20 straight losses for Dennis Gates, man. Their last win was December 30th, 2023 against UCA.
And now Memphis, did Memphis fire Penny, or did they did something weird happen with Penny recently? Is he still kicking there?
Penny fired his entire staff.
That's what it was.
September. Yeah. And then their starting power forward quit on game day. And entered the transfer portal, and they still beat Missouri.
What I was going to say is that's why it's tough, where it's losing to Memphis in and of itself, not a huge knock, but given the circumstances, that's a tough one.
Well, this game would have gone a little bit differently if Curtis was coach, but Oklahoma did beat Lindenwood yesterday, 93-60. So tough game there.
Yeah, that is a tough one for the old Fighting Lions. #OneRoar.
I will say
it'll be one of the few wins Oklahoma gets this year. But.
I was about to say I don't want to be that guy, but I will. They played in front of dozens of fans there in Norman last night. Mm-hmm. Dozens. That's sad. And what was it when we were at SEC Basketball Media Days? Porter Moser got asked 2 questions in the main room about basketball, and everyone was like, "Nah, we do not care."
I've got breaking news.
What's up?
Arkansas and Louisiana Tech will square off at 3 p.m. on ESPN Plus and SEC Network Plus.
Oh, good. So that's the streamed game that they have to have every year, or one of them, I guess. Cool. Okay. So we got those. Go. Make your plans accordingly, Hog fans, for that game.
SEC Plus ready to roll, man. Log in with the TV provider.
And if you ask me what channel the game's on, you're banned. You're absolutely banned. I am sick of that. I got that question when I was in Sports Talk Radio all the time, and texting people would be like, "Hey, what channel's the game's on?" I'm like, "There's this thing called Google. Use it." Or if you're a moron, how about you just understand, hey, if I go to the ESPN app, it's going to be on there. Just do that. Man, that got me under my skin whenever I was like, what channel is it on? And then when I tell them, they're like, yeah, but what number? It's like, okay, this is 2024, folks. No more numbers on channels.
I've been getting those comments on some of the videos we put out every morning. And I'll start it and be like, hey, Arkansas Lipscomb, 7 p.m., Bud Walton Arena, ESPN Plus. And then the first comment will be like, what time?
It's crazy.
Is this game streamed?
Listen, I'm not a hater, but I'm going to hate for a second. Why, if you wanted to know the channel or how to watch a game, why would you comment on YouTube?
I don't know.
And be like, yeah, that's going to be the most effective way When, like you said, it would take you less time to just Google search it rather than comment on YouTube. What time? Like you could literally Siri, hey Siri, what time's the Arkansas game? Like that would be quicker. I don't know. Just crazy to me.
I know. I've been trying to figure out people. I'm done with that. But hey, we can use that as part of our Arkansas update real quick, presented by Davis and Garrett Insurance, your independent auto owners insurance agency, securing what matters the most. Once again, Andrew, what time's that game against Louisiana Tech? So everybody knows.
3 p.m.
3 p.m. Streaming on ESPN app. So download it. But the other thing I wanted to bring up, guys, not exactly good. Razorback women's basketball played last night. And dude, they played against Fairfield, which I guess went to the NCAA tournament last year. Doesn't matter. They got smoked 81-67 on their home floor. Just rough. And not off to a good start for the team that was picked dead last by the SEC media, the Razorbacks, the Ladybacks, if you will, under Mike Neighbors. So,
yeah, man, that is tough. And I've heard them talking about that since the schedule was released. Like, yeah, Fairfield won 30 games last year and they went to the tournament. All those things can be true and they can be a really good mid-major, but you are an SEC program. You cannot lose your home opener to Fairfield. What are they, like a MEAC school or something, by double digits? They were down by 20 some odd points in this game. It's going to be a process. Like anybody who's expecting this year to be good probably shouldn't have. That's why they were picked last in the SEC. But there's a difference in, having low expectations of an SEC rebuild or whatever versus getting beat like that by and that's a low major. Like it's not a mid major. That's a low major league. That's it's a tough look, man.
And it really wasn't as close as the score indicates. Like if that makes sense, like it was a consistent, like you said, they were down 20 or whatever. And like after the first quarter, they were down like 13. It was like they were consistently down by several points in this game. Like it really wasn't a competitive bout. And it's just kind of where they're at, man.
Dude, it scares me because one thing about women's basketball is you see some of those just ridiculously lopsided blowout scores at times. And you get into the SEC and you're playing the South Carolinas or whoever of the world. I mean, even some of their better teams were losing those games by 20, 30 points. Like, I mean, it could get ugly. I'm sure they'll get better as the season goes along or whatever, but how much ground are you really going to make up after that? That's a tough one, man.
Dude, and I hate to be this way because I know it's their job, but it just cracks me up. The official press release of this game, like it starts about how they lost, and then the very first paragraph is the Hogs ended the game on a 6-0 scoring run and held the Stags scoreless for the final 4.5 minutes of the game. Good, great.
Shout out to Fuller.
Oh, and again, I get it. I understand that's not their job to go out there but it's just funny to me how that's like, well, that's about all we got. It's like, hey, they ended the game when nothing mattered. Here was the stats. So, just brutal there for the Ladybacks.
22 points though.
Yes, yeah, and I guess I saw also. I should have brought this up that they had a 4-star commitment yesterday.
Women's basketball.
Yeah, for women's basketball, which I was like, man, that's not very well timed. But, you got to still keep recruiting there. But either way, that is your Arkansas update presented by Davis and Garrett Insurance, your independent auto owners insurance agency, securing what matters the most. All right. And I know we got about 10, 15, 20 minutes. It just depends on how much we want to actually talk. And we'll get to your chats too. But I did want to have a little fun today on our Alumni Hall question of the day presented by Alumni Hall. If you go over there to 3417 North College Avenue, you get to check out all the latest and greatest awesome apparel for Razorbacks. You can also shop them online at alumnihall.com/Arkansas-Razorbacks. All the great stuff. Check it out with the rewards program as well. It's Alumni Hall, the ultimate Razorback shopping experience. Having some fun for the election day. It's election day. We're not going to get into any fierce political talk, or I don't know, maybe we will. Who knows, one day. But I was just curious what Razorback fans thought that if you in history could write in a player or a coach or an AD or just any figure from Razorback athletics to write him in as president, who would you write in? And I didn't do any options as far as choices. I just let people say it. But just out of curiosity, who do you guys think was the overwhelming response for this particular?
Jake Beckett.
Beckett had to get some votes. He's the first one that came to my brain, believe it or not. Like he was.
Guys,
I bet he got some votes, but
I'm going to be honest.
Mac, got
I'm
some.
gonna be honest. He did not get one single vote.
What?
Oh, damn, that's probably familiar. Yeah.
Oh wow.
The ref takes a point away. Chose violence today, but yeah, no, it's Beckett did not get the any votes there. I would say the guy that got the most votes of just ballparking it here was either Darren McFadden or Frank Broyles. So
no
there's
Houston
that.
Dale.
I was going to
Houston
say
Dale.
Nut.
Yeah, I don't know. I ain't voting for Houston Nut. Who would vote for Houston Nut? You can have that bunch of pomp and circumstance, not getting the job done. Somebody said Pat Bradley randomly. I was like, okay,
Not on my list.
not on my list.
Some TV, man.
Shout out to Unbiased Brim. Unbiased says Ken Hatfield. Okay. Yeah. In fact, there was a few people that said Ken Hatfield. Lane says Dave Van Horn. Plain and
That's
simple.
a good one.
Dave is a good one.
Yep. I feel like he's got the kind of the no nonsense thing. He's like, I'm just going to do a job. I'm not going to sit here and shake hands, kiss, I just want to do a job. A few votes for Petrino. What's up?
Oh, you said Petrino. I was going to say, did we have any votes for Nolan?
Yes, we did.
Okay.
We had a couple of votes actually for Nolan.
Okay.
Nolan fits the age criteria.
That's true. Yeah, these days he does. He's about ready for it now. I think he's finally ready to run for president.
In about 3 years, he'll really hit his prime as a presidential candidate.
Somebody said Lou Holtz. So there was a vote for
Also
that.
fits the age requirement.
Yes, also there. And we had, I'll be honest, it was a random one, but regardless, Courtney Deifel got a vote. So
Okay.
there you have it.
I think Jordan Weber it should be mentioned. I mean, we have a woman running for president these days. Why not a woman? And Jordan Weber has done more for this country than most people involved with Arkansas athletics, you could argue.
She did win the gold medal. I don't know. I think Calipari, I can't believe he didn't get any votes. Just going to be honest. He didn't get one.
That is kind of interesting.
That's
He's
going to
the
be
most
like
politician of all of them.
And exactly. Maybe that's why they didn't want to vote for him, is because he's such a politician. That they were like,
Sam Hinton?
No.
No.
Actually, well, let me take that back. He did get a vote, but then it was just like, just kidding. So did get one of those.
Let me ask you this, John.
Yeah.
You said anyone involved with Razorback athletics, right?
Correct.
Does Bill Clinton count? Because pretty much he's pretty much a Razorback, right?
Well, yeah, but the problem is that he's already served 2 terms and he can't run again. So
Okay.
based on logic. Actually, I don't know. I wouldn't have considered him one, but sure. If you wanted to re-vote for Bill Clinton, then have at it.
That's my favorite. That's my vote is Bill Clinton.
Yeah, Bill Clinton is the guy. Really would like to see what he could do in the White House, and who he could do in the White House. Yeah. So yeah, that was a few of the votes there. Also, okay, so this is one guy voted for Alex Collins. Fine, rest in peace, whatever. But here's what's crazy. He sent me a picture, and I want to clarify this. I could be completely wrong, but it looks like it's a framed card of his national letter of intent that got stolen from his mom. It's like they have that. It's like a memento. I could be wrong, but that's what it looks like. And I was like, how in the world did you get a hold of that?
That's impressive.
Yeah, dude, that's something that Darren Ravel's just probably chomping at the bit ready to talk about, if that's the case. But I saw that. I was like, what? I'd like to know the story of how that went about and how that happened. So, yeah. But any other votes, guys, for y'all? I mean, again, it's just for fun. But any other votes for y'all in history, Arkansas?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of. We did a lot of coaches. I'm trying to think of some players, maybe.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of if there's a player that was super like a super scholar, like someone that had a bunch. I mean,
hey, I said this before, guys. Josh Braun, man, that guy.
I mean,
yeah,
he could run for office one day.
He could,
legitimately.
He absolutely could. Yeah,
he had a really good pass block grade the other day too.
Yep. So he could be one of those guys. He could be one of those guys that could really be good at it. But honestly, one guy that I always liked because he was fearless. Because I think, as a leader, you want to be fearless. Daryl Macon may be somebody I look at. I really like his mentality of just not having any fear, kind of having some fun, doing his job a little bit. Had passion for the game. I don't know. It's one of the guys
Count
that
on
I
him.
thought of. Yeah, count on him. Do it all that way. No former quarterbacks for Arkansas would I ever vote for, probably.
Arkansas doesn't have a ton of scholars at the quarterback position, I wouldn't say.
Not really, no.
You know?
Not really. So, yeah, those are I'm trying to think of anybody else that I'm missing as you said, Curtis, like political, that could, give a speech and everything. Not really a lot of those that just pop up into my mind for Razorback football. Just I know that somebody said Houston Nut afterwards. It doesn't count. The voting ended. You're done. You don't get any votes.
That really actually might be my answer, though.
Why?
He'd give the best campaign speech.
That's
it would be cheesy and corny, though.
That's
They
all you
all
got
are.
to do as a president.
I know.
And a public speaker.
I know, but is he? I don't know. He'd have a lot of passion. You just say weird things, which I know everybody does in politics now. But just the things of like, there's a lot of lions, tigers, and bears. There's only one Razorback. It's like, I appreciate you got the line from Wizard of Oz, but when it gets said so many times, it kind of wears out a little bit on me.
There's a lot of Democrats, Republicans, and idiots, but there ain't but one candidate to vote for.
Houston Dale.
Were the president, America would be like rising to crazy heights overnight that no one expected, but then they would also like just drop a world war that no one expected them to lose. Like,
Yep.
they'd win World War III and then somehow like
Lose Grenada.
Light them up.
Yeah, they'd like lose Grenada, like the war that lasted 12 hours, something like that. Yeah, absolutely, that would be what it would be about.
We'd be like, wow, dude, I'm telling you, like, the economy's best it's ever been. Like everything, there's peace all over the world, and then out of nowhere, it's like, actually, now we just no longer have water in the state. Wait, what?
Somehow COVID killed that game in the College Station.
COVID moved the game to College Station. I don't know.
Bro, John L. Smith would be like the perfect libertarian candidate,
Okay, I'm not saying this to upset anyone, so relax. But John L. Smith gives me those Bernie Sanders vibes, man. Where you could just, that's good. That's the thing about this way of we got to approach it. Smile. It's like that way. It was like I could see that happening.
Oh yeah,
we could have some interesting cats in there. Because I was trying to think of any of them that actually ran for office. Like Tommy Tuberville's in office, but he actually didn't run or coach or anything at Arkansas. He's just from Arkansas. So you could really get crazy saying, "Oh, well, Pete Carroll was there for a split second, so therefore he could count as one."
I've got a candidate. I just thought of one. Dalton Wagner. And the reason I'm saying Dalton Wagner, there's been a recent rise in wrestlers getting into politics. I think Dalton Wagner, who played at Arkansas, pretty well-spoken guy, also was in the WWE's training development facility for like a day and a half. I think there's a pipeline there for Dalton Wagner to make his way into politics. How many times did Arkansas send him to the post-game press conference? Like freaking 9 times. That's an
true.
Accomplished public speaker.
That's true. Should we even play the game of who would make the worst politician in Razorback history? I don't know if I call.
Too many.
it takes too long.
I know. There would be a whole lot of the ones. Like Chad Morris would be an obvious one, but
I am the guy.
Mm-hmm.
Morris, the literal worst, like would be the worst politician of all time.
Yeah. Who honestly was a decent politician at times was Brett Bielema. Because the way he talked, he could talk pretty well, and it got bad later in the time. But when he started, kicking back on Grandpa's old cough medicine, he didn't, exactly get the words that he wanted to have. But my thing is like he could talk a little bit. He could meander around, shake some hands, all that good stuff. So yeah, it could happen. But yeah, okay, we don't need to talk about it, folks. Like we know, like you did in the chat, we know. You're going to throw in every name known to man in there. I did want to say that there was one vote for John Daly, and Rain's one of them. But yeah, John Daly, I think, would be a great press secretary. Just getting up there in front of them with cigarettes. All right, what do you all want now? And just like cracking a cold Budweiser.
Dude, you got to be built different to do that job.
Well,
that's got to be. Well, wait, where were you going with that?
I was going to say, well, Big John is built a little bit differently, because he's a guy that should not be great athletically speaking in his mind, but yet he is. So
Well, you said and you were right here. I thought you were going to say jugs or something. I was like, where's John going?
Big jugs big jugs are built differently too, obviously. So yeah, no, Big John. It's usually what I was going to go with there too. So,
ooh, Pelfrey. Ooh,
Pelfrey. No, sometimes a warrior just has to slay down and have a good bleed. Just bleed. It's like, yeah, thanks. Appreciate it. That was rough. I was trying to think of any, I know we joked about Jake Becky. I was trying to think of any other former Hogs or somebody that actually did run for some sort of office, but I don't think there is any.
Yeah, man, that's a good question. I'm sure probably like at the local level, you know what I mean? Like maybe ran for the mayor of their city or county, something or the other, but I wouldn't know off the top.
That's what I would do. I will say, I don't know if you guys remember Eddie Jackson. You guys know that guy?
Yeah.
I don't know who that is.
Oh, he played at Arkansas, but then he became like a super chef and had his own show on the Food Network. He's got personality. So
I definitely don't know who that is. I would have watched that had I known.
Presidency.
Yeah, Food Network. He could run for president. Why not? Same thing.
Y'all better put him in there.
Put him in the presidency. His name's not being mentioned. Oh man. So okay, well, good stuff with the election coming up and having fun, and we're not going to cause any problems or get everybody upset or all of that. Okay, so a few things before we wrap up shop here on the show, which we appreciate everybody watching in. Be sure to like the video, by the way, before we do get out of here. We'll save buy or sell for tomorrow. But I did want to bring this up too. Did you guys see that we talked about yesterday with Jason Kelsey and throwing the phone down and everything? He put out an apology last night on Monday Night Football, but I was like, okay, well, I didn't think that was necessary, but whatever. Now, apparently, police are investigating into possible criminal mischief and disorderly conduct for Jason Kelsey because he got that kid's phone and threw it down on the ground and smashed it. It's like,
it's a good time we're having. It's a perfect time to have an election, man, because I don't like where this country's headed.
It's because of things like that, yeah, absolutely.
But no, like in all seriousness, good Lord, man, come on.
Yeah,
it's just the kid was being a prick. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. I don't know.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, and also I feel like Jason Kelsey would also slip the kid a few $100s to get him a new phone or something like that if he really needed to. We don't need to press charges over this. Let's
no.
Yeah.
No, we don't. And also, here's my thing. And what you said, it may be too like simplistically looking at, but I look at it the same way, Curtis, is like, you see this thing happen. Okay, was the kid being a prick? Yes, he was. Okay, case closed. Moving on. Like if you're a jerk, sorry. Like don't say stupid stuff like that and you won't get hurt. It's not like he was just sitting. If it wouldn't one thing if he was like sitting there filming, just be like, "Hey man, love you," and then he took it. But when he's saying stupid stuff, sorry, I'm Team Jason Kelsey on this one. Have at it. A little bit of sad note, but Ben, the dog for Kirk Herbstreit. We're big dog people. Wait, did he?
No, I assume that's where you were going with it because I know he's been.
Not yet.
No, not yet. Jeez, it scared me a little bit. But apparently he had a second chemo injection, and on that day he's getting worse and worse. He's lost the use of his back legs, almost like they're paralyzed. Says he can barely walk. He's needing prayers and thoughts and everything like that. Just they're trying to work through it and do some things, but just really sad to see.
Yeah,
so
and that's why
it's better.
I know a lot of people have taken exception to like how much coverage that dog has gotten and everything like that. And it's whatever. But I do appreciate Kirk for this. I mean, the dude clearly loves his animal. And I think everybody kind of feels the same way when you have a pet like that. There's nothing better than having a sidekick like that. I mean, that's why they call him like man's best friend and everything. There's also nothing worse than watching that exact same thing suffer. And there's just, the dog can't control it and you can only do so much. Like it's brutal, man. So, I hope, good things for Ben or whatever. That's just it's a tough situation. I have a dog who's 13 years old, who's going through some of that stuff now. And, it just makes you sad, man, like your best friend and stuff. So kudos to Kurt, man.
Yeah. I couldn't imagine. Could not imagine. Like I got my dog Rowdy and I'm already like, I would have to, he's in good health, thankfully, but going through what you're going through, Curtis, and like obviously with Kirk Herbstreit, I just couldn't handle it. I'm going to be a mess.
Well, and obviously the dogs are not in a position to be like, yeah, we should go this direction. You're trying to make the best decision. What's best for the dog? And it's like, okay, what really is? But like, you don't know. And so it's just kind of it's a brutal situation that you're just kind of stuck in as an owner, as a pet owner. And yeah,
it's rough. But on a lighter note, I did want to play this because you guys saw Saquon Barkley's backwards hurdle, which is so ridiculous, that happened over the weekend. We can't play it because obviously, copyright. But I did want to play this video. You see the reaction from the Eagles sideline when it happens, and it's pretty hysterical because it's pretty much how everybody reacted to.
Let's go, 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 let's go.
Just love that because it's like, those are still, even though they're players that play with that guy, and even then they're just like, what in the world was that? You had the guy doing this, all coming off the bench. And I love the big lineman, number 90. You could just look at him, he's like, oh man, are you kidding me? Like just walking away from it, he couldn't believe it. So
yeah, 90 and 32 are the best there. I was going to point out 90 right away, and then 32 right then is just like,
yeah,
it was awesome, man.
I mean, that's how everybody should do it. Is that one of the most unique great plays? Because you don't see that. We see a lot of great hurdles and whatnot, but a backwards hurdle that cleared it?
I'm impressed.
Yeah.
It's up there, man.
That's got to be up there. Something that's very undervalued and underrated in its time. So, all right, guys. Anything else before we wrap up here? Need to get mention?
I feel like we should give our boy Whitty his shout out for his super chats. Make America 3% better today.
That's right.
Also, shout out to Ozzy. I broke Jabroni Jones.
Okay. Should I know what that means? Is that a fighter in the UFC? I don't know
who Jabroni Jones is.
Okay. No.
And then Whitty says like the stream, which all you guys should be doing as well.
Yeah.
Like the stream.
Please, if you don't mind, do that.
You have to.
Yep. If you want us to keep doing this, your life depends on it. So better get there and subscribe.
If you want, if y'all are all sad about Kirk Herbstreit's dog, if you want Curtis's dog to get the treatment he deserves, like the stream.
Please.
Yeah, no, seriously, because I can't afford this much longer. Yeah.
No. Man, what a great way to end. But
Andrew's good at that.
I know he's good. Usually he gives us a warning before the show starts of his vibes, and then he just had to end it on this one. So either way,
I guess I do want to say I'm not going to be with you guys the next couple days.
It's true. It's true. Do you want to tell people where you're going, or I won't? Because
I've dropped a few hints that I'm going to Mickey Mouse Land.
Okay. Well, before we go, I got to ask you. You got to give me your top 3 things you're looking forward to going to do the most at the Mouse House.
So, well, one, Friday's my birthday, which is gonna be awesome. So, don't call me on my birthday. I'm gonna be at Disney World. I'm looking forward to buying a lightsaber. The last couple times I've gone, I've not done it. I've held off from doing that. I'm not leaving there without a lightsaber.
What color?
I'm trying to get that red if they'll let me. Okay. I don't know if they're gonna make me be a sissy boy, but I kind of want it to be red. But now, yeah, I'm looking forward to just all of the Star Wars land. The Galaxy's Edge is what it's called. I just look forward to that. Getting a drink of some blue milk, getting some of the food items that are all named after stuff. So that'll be cool. There's a new Guardians of the Galaxy ride that I have not ridden. Looking forward to that. Outside of that, a lot of food. That's what I'm looking forward to. Food.
Yep. They got plenty of that too. So we'll safe travels in your time getting out there and doing it. But we appreciate each and every one of you listening and watching it Inside Arkansas Live. Be sure to subscribe to us here on our YouTube page. Be sure to like the video. Follow us on our social medias at Inside Arkansas, and be sure to check out InsideArkansas.com for all the latest and greatest up-to-date information on all things Razorbacks. We're going to keep it going from there. So for Andrew Ellis and Curtis Wilkerson, I am John Neighbors. Same sports show, same sports channel. Tomorrow afternoon, have a great rest of your day, everybody. We'll see you then.